For me, are Republicans for Kamala Harris today. In fact, I think the Trump campaign line today ought to be arsonist returns to scene of crime. I mean, look at the last 3.5 years. We've got the border has effectively been open, people flowing across. ICE today released information that there are 13,000 non-citizens convicted of homicide and almost 16,000 non-citizens convicted of some kind of sexual crime who are in the country right now. Only because we're in the shadow of an election is Kamala Harris trying to rush and pay some lip service to this issue as a tactical matter. Anderson, I don't think Harris should be trying to elevate this issue because this is the best ground from which Donald Trump has to fight. So, no, I think the Harris campaign is making a tactical mistake, and I think they have very little to say that the American people are going to buy on this today. Anderson, it's worse than that. It's not that it took them too long. It's that they actively worked to undo everything Donald Trump had done during his time in office. On the first day, they rescinded all of Donald Trump's border executive orders. The floodgates opened. All these people come rushing across. Then it becomes a political problem. And now at the end of the election, they want to blame it on Donald Trump. For her entire career, she has wanted a more permissive immigration structure. When she ran for president before, she wanted to decriminalize border crossings. In her heart of hearts, she wants a more liberal, permissive immigration structure. And in his heart of hearts, Donald Trump wants to crack down on the border. That's why when you look at the CNN polling this week, Trump is far more trusted on immigration than Harris. That is not going to change because of this visit today or anything she says today. The die is cast on this issue. If I were her, I'd want to bury this issue, not make it more prominent. But hey, if she wants to have border events, I think Republicans will rejoice because it'll increase the prominence of this issue for the last month of the campaign.
So you saw the intro. Kamala Harris is getting just, I believe, roasted. I mean, I knew the U.S. border thing would not be good for Kamala Harris. I did a whole live stream on it on Friday. Pretty much, I almost spent an entire hour just reacting to multiple people from different political spectrums, just roasting Kamala Harris. I was mostly roasting Kamala Harris because I knew this would be a bad idea for her going on the U.S.-Mexico border because for 3.5 years, like I said in my live stream, you couldn't pay Kamala Harris in 2021 to go to the border. Now, all of a sudden, she wants to go to the border 3 years later. Why? Everyone sees it. Like exactly how Scott Jennings framed it, I believe that is closer to the reality of the situation. I believe this is how many voters will react to it. And as you saw on my bias thing, right? 92% of the people covering this story is Republican. 8% of them are centrist. No leftists or left-leaning news outlets are covering this particular story. At least this. So Kamala Harris appears to wear a $62,000 Tiffany necklace. I don't know who spends. I'm a minimalist. I don't really get into the fashion stuff, so I don't know. To visit the U.S. border, report says Dems decided to send Kamala Harris out in a $62,000 Tiffany necklace to reassure the middle class that she and the corpse we just saw whisk through a debate have their best interest at heart. Now, yeah, it's not a good look, guys. I'm sorry, it's not. And people are calling her out for this stuff, right? Democrat presidential candidate Kamala Harris was spotted making an extremely rare appearance at the southern border on Friday as she seemingly remembered she was once tasked by President Joe Biden to deal with the border security and illegal immigration. Harris went to the Arizona border town of Douglas to pose with some U.S. Custom Border agents, the New York Post reported. Harris was well turned out, wearing stylish sunglasses and a necklace that looked like it came from a legendary jewelry case of Tiffany & Co. If so, the babble is worth a cool $62,000. Dems decided to send Kamala Harris out. This is where a tweet came out in a $62,000 necklace. Another observer noted how the necklace and the price tag might not mesh with Harris's narrative of just being a product of an average middle-class family. I'm pleased to see Kamala Harris emphasizing her middle-class upbringing, especially as she wears a Tiffany necklace valued around $70,000 during the visit to the southern border. People are criticizing this. Like, imagine that. I'm just from a middle-class family. Okay. Right? Like, I love about the left. They love to give Donald Trump so much heat for being a billionaire. But their candidate that always brags about how she comes from a middle class family out here stunting $70K on her neck to a southern border where no, if she's at the active part of it, it could be a dangerous place. But people seeing it for what it is, it's a photo op. As you see from this clip, a border agent is going to come out and allege that the two people that she came to the border with was part of management. And I think it's important that we hear what this guy has to say. So let's take a quick look.
Look, I stood with President Trump when he actually went to the border, to areas that is, notorious for drug smuggling and human smuggling. He stood there. He spoke to the agents. He's been speaking to the boots on the ground for over 8 years. He's spoken to them, asking what's going on. He's gone through the National Border Patrol Council numerous times. He stood there for over an hour in over 100-degree heat with victims of families from illegal aliens, and he spoke to reporters.
From ICE today.
Vice President Harris went down there and she spoke to two members of management. She didn't speak to agents. She spoke to two members of management. And I'm going to tell you, I bet money that even those two members, I feel bad for them because I guarantee you they didn't even want to be there. But she spoke to these two members of management and she was there for 20 minutes for a photo op. That's all she did. President Trump actually cares, and he's actually gone down there and met with boots on the ground, and he's done it multiple times for long times every single time he's been there. This is just nothing but a complete photo op. That's all it is. It's her Hail Mary before the election.
Everyone with a brain just sees this as nothing but damage control at this point, right? I mean, she just got lambasted by the Border Patrol agent. The two people management, and they didn't want to be there, right? And I want to illustrate this because, as you saw from the reports, Cotton hammers Harris. She released 28 illegal immigrants, alleged rapists, and murderers into the U.S. That's the kind of chaos that has unleashed for the last 4 years, he said. And this is, I think, is a very important video. I think that, this highlights really the main reason why she's at the border right now. Let's take a look.
Chaos that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have unleashed across this world isn't limited to the other side of the world. It happens right here. The administration just acknowledged that they released more than 13,000 convicted murderers who illegally entered this country, more than 15,000 convicted sex offenders. That's 28,000 rapists and murderers who illegally entered our country, who Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have let roam our streets. That's the kind of chaos that they have unleashed for the last 4 years and that Donald Trump will put an end to.
Many people trust Donald Trump on the border more than they do Kamala Harris. And that's what I'm saying. That's why I was like, it makes no sense for her to go down there. Like, I don't think her showing up in a $62,000 necklace, right, is going to change people's mind about how she did on the border, right? And everyone knows it. Everyone sees that this is a Hail Mary, right? In New York, 3 out of 4 crimes committed in downtown New York was done by illegal immigrants. She can't, there's no way you could, shuffle this. And I'm hearing narratives of how Democrats are claiming that crime is down. Many people counter that. Hey, no, the reports of crime are down. Right? There's many stories of how people will report an illegal immigrant doing something, and the fact that the police don't have any information on the culprit makes it hard for them to find it, so they can't even file a report because they don't have their own information. There's no forms of identification for some of these illegal immigrants. I don't know how it makes sense, America, that people are willing to vote for Kamala Harris when literally the situation we're set up in, the current environment, the current chaos, it's all happening under these two people's watches. And you're gonna make the lady, Vice President Harris, into president. Make it make sense. She's part of the same administration. She already formed the same habits you saw for 3.5 years. Your habits don't change after a couple months pushing on an issue. When the times get tough, when the pressure hits, she'll fall back into her habits, and that is to be more permissive on the border. And many Americans want mass deportation. I honestly agree with that synopsis. I don't think anything less. I don't think the American people want, right? And I think Vivek does a great job of highlighting just how important it is. And Kamala Harris, for all the ragging we're doing on her, Kamala Harris proves that she's not the change candidate. I'm sorry. If you believe she is, that's because you're superficial and you only look at stuff skin deep. In my view, anyway. You just see a woman, oh yeah, it's same policies, Same policies as Joe Biden. Just now it's a woman pushing out these policies, and now you think that's different somehow. No, it's not different. That's just flash. The packaging may be different, but the outcome will still be the same. And this is what I'm talking about with emotional voters. Got Ricky Smiley out here. She gonna be a Divine Nine, getting sworn in by the Data Divine, like, AKA, I don't care. Sorority girl, right? But because the setup is they want Kanji Brown Jackson, I don't know what her name is, from the Supreme Court, the first black woman in the Supreme Court. They want her to swear in the first biracial woman into president for United States of America. Like that's the setup that I hear a lot of these black Democrats, these race hustling Democrats that love race, that focus on race. Race is their primary concern. That's what they're wishing. This is why they're voting for Kamala Harris. This is what I'm hearing anyway. And I go, okay, so you don't want more of the same as long as it's different. And then you wonder why we don't have good choices to pick from politicians, right? Republicans said we want to find the most honest and most transparent person we can. We pick Donald Trump. Because we know the media is going to cover Donald Trump 89% of the time negative. That means if Donald Trump is doing something wrong, you guys will find it. But with Kamala Harris, 87% of the news coverage on her is positive. That means if Kamala Harris does something wrong, the media is going to go out of its way to cover it up. So to me, it's an obvious choice. Donald Trump is your pick if you want something to be done. If you want accountability, because you know how harshly the media is going to cover Donald Trump if he wins in 2025? Bro, they're going to do the job for us. We're going to be like, all right, we're going to look for everything he does good, and then the media is going to tell us everything he does bad. But we'll be informed of Donald Trump's every move. If Kamala Harris wins, we won't be informed of nada, nothing, zilch. All this is going to happen in the background because no one's going to be paying attention anymore. The big boogeyman is gone. And I think one of the best things that Donald Trump has done is made more people politically aware of what the hell's going on in our government borders, their policies, their outcomes, the bureaucracy that happens in D.C. And I think Donald Trump highlights a lot how much of the problem is actually government's decision-making and the process within the government that's really holding us back from making the changes that we want domestically and foreign. And we see that it's a type of cabal, and we're not in it. I think that's what Donald Trump has highlighted, and I think that's why so many people are so endeared by Donald Trump. But I digress. Enough rambling from me. I want to kind of highlight this clip from Vivek Ramaswamy, and then I'll wrap up this video.
I'll distill it down to a really simple punchline, okay? It can be a tale of two mass deportations. First is the mass deportation of millions of illegals who are in this country illegally, send them back to their country of origin and stop them from coming in. But there's also the second mass deportation of millions of unelected federal bureaucrats out of Washington, D.C. I think we achieved both of those things in many of the illegal rules and unconstitutional rules that they've written along with it. So I say that somewhat blithely. Obviously, there's a lot of nuance and a lot of breadth of range of issues. But if you want to save a country, and I want to distill it to two punchlines that effectively come out and are developed in more obviously rigorous and detailed ways in this book. If you have the first mass deportation of millions of illegals out of this country, your father talks about it all the time. The only thing is I would say don't forget that second mass deportation 100%. Of literally, there's 4 million unelected bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. that are writing rules that never passed Congress, that are acting like a wet blanket on our economy, constraining our freedom and providing the basis for weaponization. We have saved a country in the process. So that's what I think a second Trump term, that's North Star number 1 and 2. You could debate which one's number 1 and number 2. I put actually the unelected bureaucrats as number 1.
By the way, yeah, in terms of future damage, in terms of being able to take advantage of a guy that, like my father, who has the guts to actually do some of these things that would be very controversial in Washington, D.C., even if it's right for the people, I think that's as important, if not more so, perhaps.
If you're looking for an administration, right, we got RFK, Tulsi Gabbard's going to be involved as well. Possibly a libertarian also going to be a part of the cabinet too. Like, there's so much political diversity on Donald Trump's side. And these are all former Democrats, former whatever. It's because they see the inefficiencies with the current bureaucracy that's going on in our government. And that's why they did defected to Trump. You have a Michigan mayor that endorsed Donald Trump as well. Right? But who's endorsing Kamala Harris? 200 generals, warmongers, Dick Cheney, Liz Cheney, everything that the current Republican Party in the Trump era has rejected, they're all going to Kamala Harris. So if you want more of the same, yeah, put Kamala Harris in. And she showed it with her border visit. If you want just platitudes, you just want someone to appear they're doing something, but really in reality they're doing everything that is effectively hurting you. And they wonder why support from Hispanics are trending towards Trump's favor. Like, make it make sense. But you got people in my comment section saying, oh, I don't see this stuff in the polls. Yeah, because you're not paying attention. That's why you're not seeing it. But end of the day, this is all speculation. We'll see during when it comes to election time who's right or who's wrong on this. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. I believe Kamala Harris. I just finished went on minutes just destroying this. Like, it didn't help her at all. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you believe that Kamala Harris' visit helped her in any shape or form? I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate you guys watching to the end of the video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.